C6, Inverness.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and Commission members. My name is Wendy Rose with the Planning and Zoning Department. I was able to, I guess I should preface my remarks and say that the applicant is not here tonight, nor is the owner. And therefore, I was able to call the applicant about, half an hour ago, and he would like to work on the code violations associated with this property and also provide a property survey, and was amenable to a postponement to the April 23rd deadline, the April 23rd Planning Commission.
Okay.
Chair, can I make that motion?
You can make a motion,
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I thought you were done. Go ahead.
but I don't know if we can, because it's already started, so we actually go through and close public hearing if someone's going to make a motion. Is that correct, Mr. Vera?
Chair Commission Liaison Andrew Vera. So if you wish to postpone the item, I would suggest doing it at this time.
You'd probably have to have a motion to close the hearing and then
Right.
have a motion to postpone.
All right, so currently the applicant is looking for a postponement. Is that
The
correct?
applicant would like to seek a postponement to the 23rd of April in order to work on the code violations associated with this property and to provide a survey of the lot to staff.
Okay.
And the neighbors are also here. This all unfolded. I realized he wasn't here and took the opportunity during the last item to give him a call.
That's hard. When people have come down, they've waited all this time, and now we're asking for a postponement. I think that somehow some fairness got left out of this process, and I'd like to. I know the applicant's not here. He wants to work on his code violations, but to have the neighborhoods come in and then just start taking the vote on should we postpone. It's now 7:05.
Right, and it's usually out of courtesy that, but it is out of courtesy that we give either side a postponement too.
We do, but if it's posted for, okay, it's just that when you have people sitting out.
Everything's posted for discussion.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'll take it back, but I still
So
empathize with the neighbors that are
All
down.
right. So either we're going to postpone it or we're going to hear it tonight. And so I'm frustrated because do we continue discussion or do we just stop it now and we close the public hearing? Oh, we don't close the public hearing. Okay, so we just do a postponement. Okay. So Commissioner Causey.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to postpone. I mean, if it doesn't pass, we can hear it tonight.
Okay. We have a motion to postpone. Do we have a second to postpone?
Yes.
Okay. We have Commissioner Schneider as a second. Okay. Everybody understand the motion? Is there any discussion on it? Discussion postponement. Okay. Commissioner McGraw.
Well, do we have a number of interested parties to speak? I'm just curious how many people have come down here for this case, and if so, and we postpone it,
So,
should
Commissioners,
we
I have.
start the hearing and we can continue the hearing, or, is that something we should consider?
So, Commissioners, I have 5 people signed up, but can we get some hands up of who's here? So we have
Yeah, they're all there.
everybody over there.
Can we ask if they'd like to come back?
Well,
like
I don't
saying-
think we can hear it without the
We
applicant.
can't hear, right. Well,
Well, we can, but
Yeah, we can.
we can, but that's where the vote is now, right?
I know.
And you got to keep in mind, again,
Mr.
where.
Chair?
Yes.
If I could for 1 second?
Sure.
Because I don't know if this has fully been explained to all you folks who came down. So it's common practice for the Planning Commission to delay cases upon request of either folks from the neighborhood or from the applicant. It's very uncommon for us to hear a case if the applicant is not here. So commonly what we would do in this case is put a postponement on. And I know these can seem to pile up, but we could postpone it to a date certain. And I think that amount of time that's being proposed, which is about 6 weeks?
2 months.
2 months, would give enough time for for them to address the issues to whatever degree they're going to be able to address them. So I think we can say with a medium degree of certainty that we'd actually all be ready to hear the case at that point, and that you could stick around and speak, but that it's unlikely that we're going to take a vote on this actual item at this time. So
May I approach?
you're going to have to hold on for a second. We're probably actually going to have to vote on this motion
Right.
until
Well, actually,
you
yeah.
can't speak.
You
So,
will just- yeah.
so if I can suggest that we maybe see a show of hands of people who would still like to speak, and if there's folks who would still like to speak, that we vote down this motion, let them speak now that they understand the process a little bit more, and then we can close it after they speak.
So we have 5 speakers signed up right now. Okay. And with where we're at right now, this is a discussion postponement. So the way that we would approach it would be that each side would get to explain whether or not, why the postponement should be. Well, the applicant isn't here. We already know the date that the applicant would like. The neighbors could come up and they can have 2 speakers. Is that correct? I think we have 2 speakers, if they represent the other side, about why it shouldn't be postponed.
Except that we have a motion on the table.
Well, it would be pulled for postponement, but as far as for specific dates and stuff, I mean, it becomes a discussion postponement. Is that right? Mr. Rivera, is that right?
Sure, Commission Liaison Andrew Vera. So typically, we would have a discussion postponement before we had a motion to postpone.
Okay.
Since we have opposition to the postponement, it'd be appropriate to take up a discussion postponement.
So perhaps Commissioner Causey could
Yeah,
withdraw.
I'll withdraw the motion.
Okay.
And then we
thank
could
you.
hear this out and we can do it.
All right. So we're going to continue on. So at this point, we have a request for postponement by the applicant as one side, and we've heard their side to address code violations and such. So we can actually have now speaker from the neighborhood side. If somebody would like to come up and speak, you have 2 speakers about the postponement, specific dates, whether to hear it, not anything.
Good evening, Commission. Good evening, Ms. Rhodes. Thank you for your time tonight. My name is Greg Dayton. I live next door to the property at 1905 Inverness Boulevard, the property being 1907. Just with regard to the postponement, there's a lot I could say about the property and this issue. If I am not mistaken, Ms. Rhodes could correct me, the applicant requested a postponement at the prior meeting, but because there was no quorum, that was not taken up. So this is the second time that we've been down here and the applicant has requested postponement at the last minute. These code violations have been on the house for quite some time, since 2017, prior to the applicant buying the house. There has been no work done on the house, so I find it odd that this all of a sudden is a known factor, and they're just starting work on it. They don't have a site plan, and so it's a little frustrating altogether, I think, for all parties involved. And I don't know if a postponement is the best thing for our side. I don't know if it's not. So I'm depending on all of you and your judgment, but I just feel that it has been one inconsistency after the other in this case. So I appreciate your time, and thank you.
Okay, thanks. Is there another speaker on the neighborhood side that would like to point out something?
Good evening. The nature of the remarks that I prepared for the discussion tonight were to flesh out and elaborate on what I see as the code issues on the house, and I feel like that is material to discussion going forward. And so I'd appreciate an opportunity to go ahead and say what I've prepared. That's all I have. Thank you.
And can you introduce yourself, please?
Oh, yes. Sorry. My name is John Thorne Thompson. I live at 1902 Inverness Boulevard. I'm a licensed professional engineer.
Okay, thank you. All right, Commissioners, we've heard from both sides. Staff does, I guess the applicant's not here, so we have the request for postponement from the applicant, and we've heard from the neighbor side. If there's no other speakers, then we will, is there a motion to close public hearing? Oh, sorry, but it's discussion postponement. Okay, so we're okay.
Yeah, just go ahead and discuss.
Okay. Commissioners, any comments? Commissioner Snyder?
I have an inquiry. If we go forward with a public hearing on the merits, can we then postpone it? We can postpone it any time? Okay.
It could end up that way, yes.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Commissioners, any other comments? Commissioner McGraw?
Well, I think our other option would be an indefinite postponement, which means when and if the applicant gets ready to do this, they would have to re-notify. And, I mean, if they've already had a 30-day delay and want 60 days now, it just makes me think that this could go on for quite a while. And so this would mean that they would just have to, I assume, pay the fee to re-notify if we do an indefinite postponement. So it's kind of a comment and a question.
Mm-hmm. Commissioner Schisler?
Did the applicant specify a date?
April 23rd.
Yes, he did, the 23rd of April, which is 2 months' time from now.
Right. Right.
And can we confirm that with staff that they would need to do a re-notify if we did a postponement?
For a date, if it is to the April 23rd meeting, that is a date certain because it's within 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
However, an indefinite postponement would basically extend the life of the case for 6 months. And before that 6 months is up, they would need to be back before Planning Commission, and yes, that would require re-notification.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
All right. So Commissioner Shaw?
Just for those that came down, it really does help if you present your case when the applicant's here, because we can evaluate everything at that time. We're going to forget a lot of the specific details that you present tonight, and then we'll have to hear the applicant, and we may have questions back to you, but you won't be here. If you can make it back to whatever date we do hear this, that's going to be much more beneficial for your cause.
And I think just in thinking through it, I mean, what's on the table is land use, right, and versus code violations. And if we were going to be here to talk mostly about the planning aspect of where the neighborhood is, and is this use the right time, right place to do something like that, then it doesn't really have anything to do with code violations. So it's frustrating to me that the owner or the applicant, is not here, because I think, we're kind of talking about some other things. The code violations is kind of a separate item. But I know it is concern possibly for a lot of the commissioners up here. So if it's a combination thing, then, maybe we head toward postponement. But commissioners, any other comments? Commissioner Kenny.
Just say I'm displeased that the applicant doesn't have their stuff together, and I'm inclined to put it on them to resolve their issues and send some mail back out to these folks and let them know what specific date they're going to be here. And if they go through all that and they're still not ready, then I think that this dice probably not look too favorably upon that. So that seems to me to be it needs to go back on them.
So is that similar to what Commissioner McGraw was requesting? Is that right?
I'm not clear on who pays for the re-notification, though. Maybe staff.
The applicant would pay for it.
Okay.
So, sorry, Commissioner Schisler.
Well, I mean, the people who are here, I don't, if we say if the applicant requests a date, I think in the past we've always approved dates, whether it's the neighborhood, the applicant, or staff. This is the first meeting I've been at where we start coming up with our own ideas on when we should postpone items to. So I would be in favor of if the applicant requested this 2 weeks ago and we didn't have a quorum and he's requesting it now. I don't see why we shouldn't do what we've done for the last 4 years and respect his request. That's
okay.
Thank you.
All right. So, Commissioner, is there a motion on the table right now? So, Commissioner McGraw, wait. So, was that a motion that you made about the indefinite or not? Doesn't seem like.
Did we have a motion?
No, we didn't. So that
I will move indefinite postponement.
Okay.
Second that.
Okay. So we have.
I'd like to make a substitute motion to with the applicant's request for April 23rd.
Okay. So we have a substitute motion. Is there a second for April 23rd?
I have a question. Is there any way that if we do honor the applicant's?
Microphone, please.
It is on. Okay. If we honor the applicant's April 23rd date, is there any way that that is a time-definite date? No more postponements, no more talk about code violations. We're going to hear a zoning case.
I'll be happy to relay the information to the applicant.
Then I will support that. I will support that with, there has to be consequences. So I will second it.
Okay, so this is for the second to put a definite April 23rd date,
Yes.
the date requested by the applicant. Okay. Any more discussion on this? Commissioner Schneider?
I'm concerned that there won't be renotice if we go to a date certain, and people have been coming out time and time again. I think we are at the risk of exhausting the neighbors. I think there's some real issues about that are not related to the Planning Commission oversight about code violations, but maybe more so about impervious cover that sort of go to whether the applicant's coming to this discussion with clean hands. And I think that's worthy of our consideration. But that's why I can't support the April 23rd date.
Okay. Commissioner Kasi?
You know, I think the case is hairy enough where the neighbors are informed and energized. I'll say that the reason for my original motion for postponement was because it's not just that the applicant is not here, but all of the code violations and the impervious cover and so on are just make the case so hairy. And so it would, like Commissioner Shaw said, it would be helpful to have all of the information here to actually, for us to be able to even make a reasonable decision.
Okay.
So I'm going to be supporting this.
Okay. So, Commissioners, we have a motion on the table. We have first, we have second for April 23rd postponement. Any other person to speak against? If not, and anybody for? Okay. So then I'm going to go ahead and ask the question. So all those in favor for the postponement to the April 23rd? Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All those against? We have 8, 4. Okay. And abstaining? Nope. Okay. All right, so this is postponed. Sorry, guys.
Thank you. I will contact the applicant tomorrow. This case is scheduled for the 7th of March for City Council. However, that date we will request postponement at that time as well so that the case can be heard by Planning Commission. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we clarify to folks? So this got postponed date certain April 23rd.
Yeah.
Come back here that night.
Yeah, that's for sure.